70,000 people are here. And then Bob Dylan is the reason for it.
Inspired by their true story.
For anyone who's going to hold your attention on a stage, you have to kind of be a freak.
Are you a freak?
Hope so.
And starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He defied everyone.
Turn it down!
Play loud!
To change everything.
Make some noise, Big D.
Timothy Chalamet, Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro. A complete unknown. Only in theaters Christmas Day. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
New at 6, a Marshfield school board member is making national news over her effort to ban a Muppet book from kindergarten class.
The book is titled For Every Child, a Better World. Julia Fellow has more on a woman who calls that book too graphic for children.
It's a more than 20-year-old book that illustrates children living in poverty, homelessness, and even war. It's on the agenda for Marshfield School District kindergartners to read starting in February. But one school board member is trying to prevent this from happening.
They're Muppet characters. So they use these soft, cuddly, friendly figures to really try to get a emotional reaction out of children.
Mary Carney tells us she began to speak out this summer after reading the book for herself.
It's almost like it's the worst of the worst. If you actually do get a chance to look at some of the images, I mean, they're disturbing to look at as an adult.
She believes this book is too graphic for Marshfield kindergartners to see. It includes Muppet children who are homeless.
It's the rain falling down. It's the cardboard over his head.
The book, For Every Child, a Better World, was produced as a fundraiser for the United Nations. It starts with a note to the reader, showing it explains to the gentle voice of Kermit the Frog about the rights of children everywhere. Carney is aware of the media attention she's getting over a Muppet book, but believes she's only standing up for what she's elected to do.
I'd rather see these types of topics discussed from parent to child, and not necessarily from teacher to classroom full of 25, 30 children at one time.
Carney tells us that just this afternoon, an 8-person committee voted to approve this book in the kindergarten curriculum. The next step now is for the superintendent to approve this, and then a final vote from the school board. Reporting from Marshfield, Julia Fellow, today's TMJ4.
Thank you, Julia. Now, we did reach out to the school superintendent, but so far, we have not heard back.
From the ashes of the pile of children's books that woman burned, it's Scraping the Fold. This is the podcast where we watch straight-to-video Disney sequels, and we talk about them, and you know the deal. However, this is a different thing. We'll get to that. I'm Dan. And Jimmy's on his phone right now. Jimmy, I will take that phone. I will take that. Put your devices away. Jimmy. I know how much you kids love your screens. Jimmy's here. He's on his phone.
Just like that it was called TMJ News.
And Audrey's here as well.
Hey!
I just Googled what TMJ stood for.
Temporal mandibular jaw dysfunction disorder.
Yeah, basically lockjaw.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, TMJ News. That means... Never mind.
That's how I feel when I watch most news these days. My jaw locks up from stress.
From shock. Your mouth is constantly ajar. It dropped.
Yeah.
They said, what?
Do you know how expensive it is to get Botox in your jaw muscles?
Expensive?
It's very expensive. But
From
I'd do it. No. But I'd totally do it. If
let's
I could.
Get Botox. Next time we're together, let's get Botox just for fun.
Let's do it. Yeah. Just in time for the Tinkerverse.
Botox. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean,
they all need to look younger.
Oh. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. Okay.
The whole podcast is just silence for the rest of the show.
No,
Were you talking to the listener, Dan?
Audrey communicated telepathically, and I completely got it. So yeah, this is the show. We do the things that I told you that we do. This is an interesting situation because we, in preparation for the Tinkerverse, which is going to be our final boss battle.
Swan song?
Yeah, possibly. Swan song for our sanity. We decided that we were going to watch Winnie, what was it? Pooh, Tigger, and
officially My Friends, Tigger and Pooh, which is a TV series.
Yeah.
This is a special called My Friends, Tigger and Pooh and a Musical too.
Right.
The very last non-Tinkerverse straight-to-video Disney sequel.
So we were going to do that before diving into the butthole of the Tinkerverse. And then we realized we couldn't find it.
Barkley.
And fun story. I was at lunch yesterday when Jimmy sent the message, where do we watch this movie? And because I work in the industry that I work, I immediately like, you could just look it up. And
I did.
and then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, he did.
Sure did. I thought for sure I had very little time between prep and recording, and I just like, oh, here's Disney Plus. Boop-a-doop-a-doob. Wait, did they change the title? No. Google? No. My Friends, Tigger and Pooh in a Musical 2? Nowhere.
Well, Tigger did use, no, sorry, it was Owl that used the N-word a lot in that movie.
In that one?
With the hard R.
Oh, jeez. So here's what happened, Dan and Audrey. Peek behind the curtain on this end. Couldn't find it. And then I'm like, well, my family and I last night, as in Thursday, we watched Muppets Haunted Mansion for like the 14th time.
Oh God.
And so it was on the brain. I'm like, hey, Halloween's coming up. Why don't we do Muppets Haunted Mansion?
You've watched this more than once?
Oh yeah. Will I watch it again tonight? Possibly.
Oh, God.
Is it an every year thing, multiple times a year? Absolutely.
I think we need to. This is an intervention.
We're past intervention, I think.
Okay, well,
we need to just accept.
You're an addict, and you've chosen this as your addiction, and I feel so sorry for you.
What I find the most upsetting and will be the most challenging to keep in mind throughout this episode is that I fear that the average listener is going to be on Jimmy's side.
Yeah. Because we're all sane. And we love. We love fun. Mm-hmm. We love joy. Mm-hmm. We love nods to theme park attractions. And we're not dead inside. That's what.
Okay, you're going to turn this around and say we're the ones who are dead inside? Well, you're right.
I've accepted that as a possibility for a while. But I don't think that this is one of those cases.
So real quick, Dan.
You've watched this you've watched this over 10 times?
Welcome to being Jimmy's friend, Audrey.
Exactly. At least. And we watched it Thursday, so hey, what a great idea. And so for the listener, we haven't had a ton of time to prepare for this. And so that being said, I am curious, Audrey, what you thought this was going to be about.
Ooh. Let's do some history first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, whatever history we can come up with.
This is what happened in 2021, for the record.
Well, this is a salute to the Muppets, salute to all Muppets, but mostly those in the Disney parks on factsandfigment.com. Let's see what
By the way, this, Audrey, that's a nod to the Muppet Vision 3D.
Mm-hmm. That means you need to like it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I will not be forced to like anything against my will.
However, in the timeline, this did come out around the time that things were, correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy, but this came out around the time that things were like reopening.
Well, in California,
right.
Florida opened like 2 months. It was like April of 2020.
But this might be the most post-COVID thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think the movie was actually produced all within COVID protocols. You'll notice not a lot of live actors are near each other.
Right. The Muppets all had masks.
That's right.
Oh, so that's why it's completely soulless, lifeless, unwatchable, unfinishable. Did I mention I fell asleep at the end? I didn't see the end because I fell asleep.
You didn't miss much.
That's why you didn't love the movie.
No, that's not why. Hold on. All right. I pressed the button, so now we're stuck. Disney legend James Murray Henson, I have read this before, was born at a time, and we don't need to have that. Acquisition. In 1989, he entered into negotiations with Walt Disney Company to sell his company, Jim Henson Productions. But his characters, excluding those from Sesame Street, and his characters, like I said, I've read this before, and his characters, excluding those from Sesame Street. Okay, great. And then the Muppets arrived at Walt Disney World in a little something called Muppet 3D, Muppet Vision 3, is it Muppet 3D? What? 3D Muppets, write it.
Muppet Vision 3D, the very last thing Jim Henson worked on.
Yep, it was the last thing Jim Henson worked on. And then they also had Here Comes the Muppets, which was a thing where people would be in walk-around characters as Muppets, which was really weird. They looked terrifying. Then we got, Muppet Vision 3D came actually after that. Like I said, I've read this before. And then they had Muppets on Location, Days of Swine and Roses. Can you guess who was the main star of that?
Miss Piggy.
Yeah. Then they did more Muppets with life-size characters, and it was scary. And then they did the Muppet Mobile Lab, and then a lot of time passed. And then they did Greater Moments in American History, and of course Pizza Rizzo is still there. Sam the Eagle, and now they just kind of like, it's just sort of a property that like they're like, what do you want us to do, guys?
Let's drag these things out of retirement against their will.
Right. And I'm dancing like a Muppet.
Yep.
And I'm celebrating like a Muppet.
Hands are overhead.
I'm smiling. I'm gonna smile like a Muppet.
He's smiling like a Muppet now.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, the Muppets, much like the Haunted Mansion, these properties are both, in the eyes of the Walt Disney Company, very much, in my opinion, like that dog that has been overbred. And yes, that poor dog that you see that's been overbred, and like it's all like saggy and weird.
Sounds delicious.
Now I'm starting to feel sad.
Me too. I've lived with the sadness for a while, though.
Well,
yeah.
So, Audrey, in that brief period of time between finding out that you were going to have to watch this movie, get to watch this movie, and watching this movie, what did you think it was going to be about?
Well, I told myself to have low expectations. But I saw Muppet Treasure Island at an impressionable age, and I thought that was one of the coolest movies ever. And
Until
I was kind of hoping for a little bit of that to happen.
And
so did you expect to like it, like on some level?
Yes, I expected to like it on some level because the Muppets are extremely likable.
So why didn't you?
We haven't finished yet, Dan. We haven't landed there yet.
I'll just chew on that. Yeah. Why didn't you like it, Dan?
Wait.
I don't know.
Okay. Wait. Yeah.
Audrey, did you see Muppets Christmas Carol?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's also
delightful.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Beautiful. I saw a movie called Labyrinth that has Muppets in it.
Labyrinth, we saw that together.
And that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me, if you didn't like this movie, is that you, in fact, don't like the Muppets. In fact, you hate them.
That's what I heard.
It's possible.
All of those movies, sort of homages to the original source material, kind of with the Muppet flair, a little bit of fourth wall break, a little bit of
with
silliness.
a story arc and some gags and some characters.
Some heart.
Lived up to it.
Yeah.
All of that.
Soul,
True.
maybe?
Yeah.
They all have just like this movie.
Well, no.
We'll get to it. Hold on. All
right.
Dan, did you have any thoughts about what you thought it was going to be?
When it first came out, I thought, I guess I should watch. It was sort of like the Rogue One thing, where it's like, I guess I should watch this because it seems like something that I'm supposed to watch, but nothing about it interests me. And we'll get into this more. And then Jimmy, you told me you're going to love it. You said to me specifically, you will love it. I'm telling you, it is made for you. And I'm like, I don't think it is. I'll give it a try, but I think that you're seeing in it something that is unique to stuff that you like. And it's kind of like that dividing line where it's just like, okay, that's your thing. That's not my thing. But I gave it a try. I watched it for 5 minutes and then I yelled at the TV. This was like years ago.
I'm sorry.
And
I said,
I
You
threw
yelled,
the remote control.
"Keep going! It's so good."
No, I remember in our conversation, part of it was, "But you like the Haunted Mansion, right?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do like the Haunted Mansion." And he said, "But you like them?" And he said, "You like the Muppets, right?" And I said, "Yes, I do like the Muppets. But this, I don't think, is a chocolate and peanut butter situation. I think this is a chocolate and ranch dressing situation."
I think that's fair.
Sure enough, it is a chocolate and ranch dressing situation.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm sorry I didn't like the movie, Jimmy.
I'm not.
Don't be sad. Don't be disappointed with us.
We haven't even talked about what it's about. You don't even know if you liked it till I tell you about it.
You're right. Please install my thought.
I think
opinions.
Audrey, Dan didn't like it because we told him he was supposed to.
No, that's not it
You
at
didn't
all.
like it because you didn't fully understand it. So when I explain it all to you, you're going to come around and be like,
right.
Oh,
you actually enjoyed it. What you needed for someone to explain everything to you in a length longer than the actual movie itself.
That's right.
And then you'll go back and be like, "You're right. I actually loved every moment of this movie."
Yeah.
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 I think for me, not only it just, there are parts, to be fair, there are parts that I've found amusing, which were past the 5-minute mark, and a lot of this, it hits me in this place where it's just like, okay, yeah, I like the Haunted Mansion, so I want to go on the Haunted Mansion. I don't want this.
Well, I would argue that this movie is going on the Haunted Mansion through the eyes of the Muppets.
It's not. We'll get into it.
And I've been on the Haunted Mansion twice.
Yeah. Oh.
In my 33 years of life. How many times have you guys been on it?
Countless, because I'm dark and I like Halloween and I like scary things.
Well, yeah. Name 5 things about the ride that only a true fan would know.
Mark Davis is a dick.
That's one.
Paul Frees.
Now you go, Jimmy.
Okay.
One of the original ideas was this was going to be the Museum of the Weird.
Okay.
And one of the ideas for the Museum of the Weird... Wait.
Sorry.
I got two.
One of the ideas for the Museum of the Weird was a melting candle man.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And they've added him to the ride since.
A very tiny melting candle man. And also, Hatbox Ghost is the best thing ever. And I just, oh my God, every time I ride it, I'm like, he's coming. It's coming. It's going to happen.
The chair in the seance room was the original design for the ride vehicle.
Oh.
Wow.
There you go.
All right.
All right, guys. So Muppet Haunted Mansion is a 2021 American comedy Halloween special based on the Disney properties, the Muppets, of course, and the Haunted Mansion. It was released October 8th, 2021 on Disney+. It is the Muppets' first Halloween special. The plot stars Gonzo and Pepe as they face challenges of staying in a haunted mansion for one night.
I have a question.
Generally positive reviews from critics.
Why are they going? If it's a Halloween special, why wasn't it Nightmare Before Christmas? Because that is clearly a Halloween movie.
Well, it's a different, dark and twisted mind.
I don't think they'd be able to handle Christmas, Halloween, and Muppets. So they made it smaller and easier to chew, which was Halloween and Muppets.
I'll tell you what you would love. Sorry, Audrey, go ahead. You finish your thought.
No, I don't have any.
Muppets Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay. Muppets.
All right. Who would be Jack Skellington?
Oh, God.
Okay, hold on.
That would be Kermit.
Kermit, obviously. That was a dumb
Yeah.
question.
And then
Miss Piggy would be
Sally.
Sally. Yeah. The mayor would be
Fozbear.
Probably Gonzo. Fozzie's good. The dog would be Rolf, of course.
Because he's
Zero the dog.
Yeah, he's a dog.
the rats would be the 3 children.
Yep. Anyway, all right. All right, so this movie, everybody.
But here's the thing.
Plot.
Is like they're doing a Haunted Mansion challenge and they have cell phones. So obviously they're trying to go after the Gen Z age or something.
Because they love their screens.
I guess it's like we're doing the cinnamon challenge. Everything's a challenge instead of it's just we're going to a Haunted Mansion for the night. That's scary enough on its own. Why did you have to make it a Haunted Mansion challenge? It just feels like dumb TikTok energy.
I would have enjoyed this more. I would have enjoyed this more if they did a Tide Pod challenge.
Okay, but here's the thing. They make fun of the whole thing. The main character outside of Gonzo is the Great MacGuffin.
What? Like, okay, hold on. What aspect?
But they don't even do the MacGuffin thing, do they? At the end,
he is the MacGuffin.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
He's called the Great MacGuffin.
Did they bring back the MacGuffin? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that explains
That's his name. He was projected the whole time. Like,
real question. What are they parodizing about anything? What's the parody aspect?
Well, does it have to be a parody? Like, I don't think it is either. I think Muppets Haunted Mansion is Muppets Christmas Carol. It's telling a story through the eyes of the Muppets. They're telling the same story.
But there are still parody elements in Muppet Christmas Story.
So you're telling me that in the Haunted Mansion, the ride of the Haunted Mansion, the point is to face your fears?
No. Maybe. I mean, for a lot of children, Dan, I think it is. Yourself included.
You're trying too hard to like it.
No. Well, I already like it. I don't have to try. So in a good movie, one that's enjoyable and one that you can like walk away from and go, this movie was about that. You can actually say, this is what that movie was about. And you can say, if it's parodizing something or making fun of it, you can say what aspect it's making fun of and how. But this is just like, oh, Doom Buggy. Doom Buggy. I get it. Yeah.
That's not making fun of it.
It's the dumbest. It's the lowest common denominator.
I think it's paying homage. I don't think it's parodying. I don't think that it's
okay. What are they parodizing?
They're not.
Stop saying paradise.
At what point is it homage and what point is it laziness? Where's the line?
There is no line. It's just
not laziness, but just a pure ripoff.
I think that Disney is trying to reconcile two things.
Are they?
They have this world famous attraction that everyone loves. Dan, it is in fact something that a lot of children have to get up the courage to ride.
True.
Yourself included.
Yeah, I'm still afraid of it.
So the fear of getting on this ride, right?
Yeah.
But it is a world renowned attraction that has been imitated across the world in other sort of theme parks, or let's say Disney did a better job at the haunted house ride. And it's everywhere. Like even in the eastern part of the world, in Asia, where they don't really believe in ghosts and that sort of thing, they have found equivalents to this.
Yeah.
Everywhere they have one. And Disney's never really been able to have property like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
You know, it was a multi-billion-dollar franchise. They haven't been able to do that for this ride that they should be able to do because it's a world-famous ride.
Okay.
This is another attempt for them to have some sort of, some sort of answer to this franchise of whatever. So I think, Dan, to your point, what this movie is trying to do is be Muppets Christmas Carol for something that doesn't exist.
It's just such
Christmas
a
Carol
lame
already
attempt.
existed. Maybe, but it's Muppets, which are fun. I think there's a lot of humor in it. I like the sight gags. I like the characters. I really like Pepe.
I like the sight gags too, I'll admit.
Gonzo's very genuine. He's a very genuine character. I think the arc is what he finds, he's sort of a stoic-ish character. He finds at the end that what really matters to him is being with his friends. They're his family. That's really what matters. All the rest of it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. So I think he does have an arc. He doesn't leave the mansion. His thing is to meet the great MacGuffin who died 100 years ago. His goal is to just, hey, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. I can get through this night. at the end, he realizes he is afraid of losing his friends and not being with what really matters. And rather than accomplishing his goal that he set out to do, he risks accomplishing his goal by going back to save his friend, because that's really what matters in life, is the people you love. And so he saves his friend and he still accomplishes his goal. I think it's a sweet story. It's a sweet story.
There are parts of it that I don't disagree with you on that, especially the last part. But it would have been a better movie if it wasn't just Gonzo and Pepe.
Maybe. But it's not. Kermit's in it. Piggy's in it. Rolf is in it. I mean, they're all in it.
They're all cameos. They call it out. They're like, I wish we had a bigger role in this movie.
Right.
But they're in the ballroom scene. They're all characters.
They're stand-ins for other characters. Well, but they're like, and the Great MacGuffin, who we don't know yet, even says like, oh yeah, you're gonna some people. Your mind will play tricks on you to make you think that you recognize some people, which basically says like that's not Kermit.
But Kermit wasn't Bob Cratchit either, Dan. But he was Bob Cratchit. He's still. That doesn't mean Kermit's not in the movie.
It even says that that's not Kermit. That he looks like Kermit.
Which movie?
That's a stand-in. That Kermit character is a stand-in for the Great MacGuffin, who takes on the form of Kermit.
Huh? Anyway, my point is that there were other Muppets in it. Miss Piggy plays a role. Kermit played, like, those characters. The puppets play a role in the movie. So I get the main characters are Pepe and Gonzo,
right?
But the rest of them are in it. They're in at the beginning. They're in the middle. They're in at the end. They're in there. They play roles.
I think, I think your argument has a leg to stand on. It's just so poorly made. It's just so half-assed. Gonzo. Yes. I've never seen Gonzo looking so stiff, and I think the quality of puppeteering has declined. And this is nitpicky, but why did they give him a candelabra with fake candles? Why not just give him a real candelabra? You couldn't pull that off. You have a green screen for literally like the whole movie is green screen. And you gave Will Arnett a fake candle. And it it just looks cheap, despite how much
because that's what it looks like in the ride, Audrey. But that's what it looks like in the ride.
Not really.
In the ride, they create the environment and they have lighting. Like if you're holding a candle, it's going to cast light on your face. When you're watching Will Arnett with his cheap glued-on mustache, and he's holding a candelabra, there should be light on that side of his face, but there isn't. This is a problem that's ongoing in Hollywood right now, is people are just, there's no effort, despite how much money they spend on these things. And that's why it's so annoying and upsetting, because it's like, this is a cute concept, right? I like Muppet Christmas. That's fantastic. I should like this. But I'm angry because like the music scene, I was like, oh my God, this is like a fourth grader wrote this song. Just the opening number.
Yeah.
It's
like none of the music is interesting or good. Lin-Manuel Miranda could have saved this, maybe, but he's too expensive and he was probably busy writing Moana 6, right? My question is, does this problem cross over to like Broadway, like other entertainment spheres? Do you have Broadway musicals, new Broadway musicals coming out with like such kindergarten level songs in them, and people eat it up and they're like, oh, I love this.
This is totally tangential, Audrey. The problem with Broadway now is that there is no original story. Yeah. So there are three things on Broadway, right? Thing number one is it's either an existing property in that it's an existing story. It's based on a movie. And if it was popular in the 1980s, they made a Broadway musical about it, right?
Got it.
Number two, or it's an original story with pre-existing songs, i.e. a jukebox musical. And three,
the musical.
Famous people have to be in it. That's the only way you're going to get people to Broadway and pay those kind of money, dollars, is a built-in story. It is the exact same as Hollywood. It is an existing IP. It's a sequel. It's somebody famous. It's a way to get people butts in seats. That's how the business works right now.
Our money system is broken. End the Fed. Money is meaningless, and therefore everything is expensive and random.
I have a whole other tangent about capitalism and inflation.
No, see, that's the thing. Under capitalism, we got incredible movies like Muppet Treasure Island. That's capitalism. I'm saying our money system is broken.
Bad. Listen, I'm going to say that's one.
Okay. That has nothing to do with this movie. I don't think
it does. So it does, because they paid all of those actors a budget. They paid all of those artists, background artists, a budget. You know, they paid a writer to write music for it. They paid him money. I'm sure this movie was expensive to make because Disney's making it. But I'm saying we should demand better quality for what they are producing with that amount of money.
I don't disagree.
You guys
all of
are
those
right.
things can
you
be
guys
true.
Are right there. You're so close. That's all I'm going to say.
No.
All of those,
Dan?
Audrey, all of those things can be
so
true,
close.
and you can still enjoy it.
You're so close.
I don't want to. It's like going to McDonald's for a cheeseburger or going to the Friendlies in San Diego for a smash burger. They're like the same thing. They're both cheeseburgers. One of them costs $7. The other costs $12. One of them is absolute slop, and it comes from a chain. And the other one is slop, but it's the most delicious kind of slop. And you could tell it's made with heart and love. And
Again, you're both so close. I'm not going to say anything more.
So to sort of buttress your point, and I'm going to reiterate the fact that all of what you're saying can be true and it can be enjoyable at the same time. But this movie came out in October of 2021. In May of 2021, the attraction ride, this movie, was announced in development. May of 2021, it's announced in development. October of 2021, it came out.
So they
rushed it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's my main argument, and we'll get to the plot eventually. I don't
know.
My main thing is, it goes back to, but you like the Muppets, but you like the Haunted Mansion. So therefore, your average person who is like, hey, Haunted Mansion toilet paper, I can't wait to buy it because that will help me identify myself as the Haunted Mansion person. Or like, Muppets dildo, I'm gonna buy it because that will like identify me as the Muppets fan. And it takes that, and it's like, well, people are going to find ways to like this because they want to like it, because they want to like the Haunted Man, because they like the Haunted Mansion. They're going to like it because they'll like any Haunted Mansion slop that we put out there besides the movies. Same thing with the Muppets. They liked what we did with the Muppets with American history. What if we just like graft the Muppets lazily onto, let's just see what fits. People are going to like it because they're going to feel obligated to. They have a lot of emotional investment with both of these properties. It's basically a Venn diagram that you're going to be like, okay, many people will like this regardless of if it's good or not. So they didn't bother making it good.
I think just
so
as
let me
many
ask you a question.
Honestly, like there are some people, yes, that are going to do those mental gymnastics, but then there are some people that aren't just going to like it. And
let me ask you the question. So what?
Right. Yeah.
So that doesn't good.
Well,
Fine.
Nobody said it was good.
Oh, so are you
like
saying
it because
that you
it's
agree
bad?
that
I like it.
You like it.
Well, I mean, listen, Muppets inherently are kind of bad. Like that's the whole point
I
of the
don't
Muppets.
think
They're
so.
kind of bad.
But bad with style and heart, and
sure. But there's intentional half-assedness about the Muppets. Maybe it's very highly technical in order to make it look like it's half-assed.
But this is the same argument for let's keep Chester and Hester's parking lot theme park open.
Stop it.
No, it is. It's the same argument.
I don't have that argument.
I know you don't. That's why I'm using it. It's
what's the argument?
If we say that we made something purposely bad, then we can just phone it in.
I don't know if anybody's saying that about this movie. I'm
you
saying
just kind
that,
of said that about the Muppets.
Well, I'm not saying it about Chester and Hester. I'm not saying about this. What I'm saying about the Muppets is that they're sort of, I mean, just by nature of the fact that they're puppets, Dan, that they're not meant to be photorealistic, right?
They have been.
Well, but that's not the intent. And
there's still,
I didn't say that
with good puppetry, a puppet is lifelike. A puppet, and it's it comes down to performance. I don't think any of the puppet performances in this movie are lifelike enough. I just think it's a bad performance.
Maybe it was, I mean, from announcement to release was like 4 months.
But again, that didn't need to be the case.
It didn't. But also at the time, things were a little bit harder to be made. COVID protocols, yada yada. They're trying to get content out on Disney Plus.
But I feel like that argument is sort of like you're handed you order something that looks pretty good off the menu, maybe not great, but then they hand you like a pile of diarrhea and they're like, the chef's sick. What can you do?
Right. Just tell me the chef's sick and I'll be like, okay, I'll come back another time.
Right.
I think if you have an extended period where you're like, what do? We can't do this certain thing. Well, it's like, maybe that's the time to pivot and try something completely different and take your time doing that instead of like, panic, make a movie quick. Right?
Well, that's the entire fucking show that we've been talking about for 2 fucking years. That's what this whole thing is about. Now, this movie is not one of the straight-to-video sequels. My point is, back to your point, I like a McDonald's cheeseburger. I like a Taco Bell burrito. I grew up with it. I think it tastes great. It's comfort food. It doesn't have to be really good in order to enjoy it. I don't have to have craftsmanship in my McDonald's cheeseburger in order to enjoy it.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that
that's a fair point. Yeah.
The sticking point I have is this idea of like, what do you mean you didn't like this slop that McDonald's barely applied heat to? If you like it, great. That's fine.
I mean, there may be a little defensiveness in that, but I mean,
I like McDonald's too. There's a place for it. I like absolutely crap movies, but I'm not going to show someone Manos: The Hands of Fate and be like, "What do you mean you didn't like it?"
Well, I don't know. For the record, I didn't. If I did say that, I don't know that. I part of this episode is just me being funny because
No, I know. I'm not trying to be critical of you. I'm trying to be critical of the movie.
The music's not great. It's half-assed. The whole thing's half-assed. But back to the McDonald's example, it doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it. I didn't say it was great. I didn't say it was a phenomenal piece of art. It just it ticks the boxes for what I like about the Muppets. It ticks the boxes about what I like about that ride. It pokes fun of itself. It's got some witty banter. It's got some great humor.
And I think
it's a good story. It's short. It's sweet. It ticks the boxes. I enjoyed it.
I think that it is many of those things, but it stops being a lot of those things when it becomes about the Haunted Mansion. I would have been very about the specific the version of the Haunted Mansion that we have right now. I would have been very interested to see them like dig into the deep lore of it. Like where's Gracie? Where's that stuff? If you're going to make something for the fans, then you could have some things in it that are actual conceptual Easter eggs other than just like, the fire's green, just like in the ride. I don't know how much more, sorry, Audrey, real quick. I don't know how much more lore you can get than Kim Irvine, the daughter of the lady who played the lady inside the glass ball, that's
cleaning
just like,
the glass ball.
Hey, I know that
Audrey
thing.
doesn't know what that is.
No, I knew who that was. I was like, that's the
never mind.
Madame Leota person, but in real life.
That's her daughter.
And I was distracted by
daughter.
how. All right, well, it's her daughter, but I was distracted
She's the
by
Meghan
her bad
McCain
acting.
of Disney Imagineering.
Well, she's an Imagineer. Who got
So
a cameo.
using your boxes metaphor, my boxes I think are much smaller than Jimmy's. So like, yes, there are boxes for, is this a Muppet movie? Is this a Haunted Mansion thing? Is it funny? Is it breaking the fourth wall? Like, yes, it ticks those boxes, but for me, the boxes are a little more specific, and I just feel like they weren't satisfied. They just like, my expectations are higher for things with Muppets titled on them and things with Haunted Mansion titled on them and things with Disney titled on them. Make sense?
You know what? I think I figured it out.
Oh.
You guys hate Pat Sajak.
Yes, that's actually true.
Who is
That's
Pat
what this is
Sajak?
about.
the devil.
Now you're just making me mad.
I'm sorry.
Pat Sajak is a game show host of the Wheel of Fortune. No, yes, Wheel of Fortune. Pat Sajak. Right? You've seen him. You've seen pictures. He's in this movie as one of the singing busts.
And just for the listener, first of all, I want to make a correction. I realize that a pile of diarrhea is not physically possible. Also, I'm referencing an ongoing joke that I've had in my own life that Pat Sajak is in fact the devil, because I have always found that funny. There we go.
That works. It fits. It fits for sure. And you know who the new devil is when Pat Sajak dies?
Pat Sajak did die.
Oh, he did not. He just retired like a week and a half ago.
Well, that's the same thing.
He died
Capitalism.
from Wheel of Fortune. All right. You know what? You guys. Instead of attending the Muppets annual Halloween party, Gonzo and Pepe are on the way to a fear challenge. It's an event in the same haunted mansion where Gonzo's favorite magician, the Great MacGuffin, disappeared 100 years ago. Upon being dropped off by their hearse driver, Yvette Nicole Brown, Community, etc.
Where was the elevator?
We hold on. We're not there yet.
That's
Gonzo
the Hollywood
and Pepe,
Tower. Sorry, different ride.
There's an elevator in this ride. But
that's true. Yeah.
Anyway, Gonzo and Pepe meet the caretaker, played by Darren Criss, along with several ghosts and
that was Darren Criss. I knew that guy looked familiar. He's the one from that Harry Potter musical.
Oh,
really?
So why didn't you like the movie then?
Yeah, exactly. All right, a little bit of reference here. A couple of things to note, just a little sidebar. The numbers on the Haunted Mansion, 924, they're a reference to Jim Henson's birthday, September 24th.
Oh, that's coming up.
Happy birthday,
Danny
Jim Henson.
Trejo.
Hold on.
Well, and it's either coming up or it's already passed, depending on when you're listening. Danny Trejo appears as a prisoner ghost. Do you guys know why? Because he was a prisoner in Muppets Most Wanted.
And in real life.
You know what? I take it back. This movie's amazing.
Among I like this one. Among the celebrities that Pepe hopes to meet at the big Hollywood Halloween party, when asking the ghost host about whether there's any famous peoples at the Haunted Mansion, is Ryan Gosling. And Ryan Gosling, was attached to Guillermo del Toro's canceled Haunted Mansion reboot.
You know what?
That would have been so
I take it back.
Freaking epic.
The feeling that I felt while watching the movie was in fact wrong. This is.
Oh, just wait, Dan.
Kubrick can go for himself. This is the best movie.
So what I love Pepe, and here's one of the moments I like. They meet the ghost host. I like Will Arnett. I think he's funny. I think he did a great job. I think he did a good job in this movie.
Not in this movie.
One of the gags I liked was he greets Pepe and has a short conversation with him in Spanish. And Pepe in Spanish says, "Do you speak Spanish?" And he says, "No." Yeah. I just thought that was funny.
Yes.
Sure, it's lowest common denominator, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I hadn't been laughing recently, then maybe it would have hit harder. Like hunger is the best medicine. Hunger is the best sauce. If I was deprived of comedy, then I would have laughed at that. But because I had just finished performing an improv show and stuff or something, I was just like, I should be laughing at that line, or like that is a line that was meant for a laugh.
You shouldn't be engaging in funnier things.
That's really what if we did? I feel like this kind of commentary where you're like, look, it's Ryan Seacrest or Ryan Reynolds. Who did you say earlier? The other actor? No, the other one.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. That's the one. If I had been watching that movie with your commentary, then I'd be more interested. I'd be like, oh, got it. Because I was not drawn into the world of this movie the way a good movie would do. And if that's the case, then I just start asking questions. And if I'm not getting like commentary on the side, then I don't find that a stimulating, enriching experience at all. I just find it like, why am I watching this?
I would have
That's
been
my issue.
interested in a different way, but I wouldn't have enjoyed the movie itself more. Like the actual watching experience would have been like, oh, I learned some stuff.
Yeah, but that's just not how movies work.
No.
And
There's
just
usually
like,
a
and
story.
Dan, and we have a whole other podcast about this. Like, you can go on a ride or go on a theme park attraction and enjoy it. But then when you find out about all of the different nuances and all the things, we've built a podcast empire around this whole thing. It's
the
like,
missing part is I didn't enjoy it, so I don't care.
Well, perhaps. Okay.
You
decided you weren't going to enjoy it before you watched it.
No, that's not true. That is not true at all. I understand that people might think that about me, but I like blue milk. Okay. Like that is like, that is, I don't know how else to explain it. You either have to know me or not. I completely get that people have this impression of me, but I like blue. I don't know what else to tell you. But like my initial reaction to this scene was, well, first of all, the scene in the graveyard, that's where I threw my remote when I watched it years ago. And reason being, it's just, we're going to find this thing and we're going to why don't anyone can decide I'm going to make a song based on the items that I see in the pet food aisle. And they can just do that. And that's what they did with this. It was just, okay, here are some headstones that already exist. Let's turn them into a song. Let's have a cameo by a celebrity who we can afford.
It's like reading a PowerPoint presentation while you're presenting.
Yeah, I get that it takes some skill to do that, but like marginal at the most.
It's not a great song.
That's they do better. They're capable of doing better work. That's really the main thing. I mean, and I can't ignore that fact, especially when the Disney company doesn't use. I think this is the main thing. The Disney company hasn't used the Muppets as much as they should have. So when they do, it should be good, and this isn't.
The ghost host, who's Will Arnett, tells
By the way,
Gonzo that
why
has
is he
been
rhyming?
summoned.
That is not a thing in the ride. That's
What?
a Madame Leota thing.
Will Arnett's not on the ride. I get it.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to frustrate you.
The ghost host tells Gonzo that he has been summoned to the mansion to see if he can survive one night. If he cannot, he and Pepe will be trapped there forever. While Gonzo claims he fears nothing, spoiler warning, Pepe is easily scared by everything he sees in the mansion. Okay, a couple things in this opening thing. So this is for you, Audrey. This opening scene is meant to be sort of the lobby of the mansion.
Yeah,
which is,
well, I've been on the ride twice, so
yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Wait, you went on the Haunted Mansion holiday version, right?
Yes, but when I was a kid, I went on the OG.
Got
version.
it. Okay.
All right, so this is the lobby you're supposed to be. I don't know what CG you're talking about. I think most of this is practical.
It's not. It's good CG.
Anyway.
Some of it is very good CG, but it's not.
This
practical.
room is practical. That candelabra is practical.
No, look at the flames. The flames are digitally added in.
Well, whatever.
Like,
maybe.
how much money they paid a guy to sit there and draw in candles. Okay, the only way I can justify this is that they were afraid of lighting the Muppets on fire. That's
Perhaps.
the only
I'm sure
way.
They're flammable too.
But it's still,
All
it's
right.
just like, how much money did you spend on
You still need to add
digital,
the glow.
Like a real candle costs what? $10?
A candelabra, maybe? A candle's not that much.
It's just
So,
stupid.
Audrey, I'm going to yes and to what you were saying, which is I do believe that the candelabra itself is physical, but
Yes,
the
well,
flames
he's
are
holding-
digital.
Yes,
Right.
that's what I'm trying to say.
And I think where I'm going with this, what I'm taking from what you're saying, what I'm picking up from what you're putting down is that if you're going to go in and take the time to make the flames, and the flames don't look bad, but they do look bad if you don't have the glow that the candle emits, which is like, I mean, I couldn't do it in an afternoon, but like a special effects person that's going in to do that CG work could probably do it in an afternoon.
Can I just say, who the cares about the candlelight? It's not what you watch the movie. That's not the point.
But these are the things that make a difference.
I guess.
You could have spent less money to make this movie look 2% more real.
Right.
And
anyway, one of the things that I enjoyed about this scene is, there's that whole trope of somebody says something scary, thunder strikes, and then there's dun dun dun, and there's two skeleton Muppets come out, dun dun dun,
and that gets funnier every time we see them.
Dun, dun. It was extra. He made a mistake. I thought that was fun.
British accents are inherently funny.
Exactly, and it's a funny. Can it be overdone? Sure, but I thought it was fun. It's very Muppety. That whole thing's very Muppety.
Yes.
I enjoyed that. All right, so the ghost host tells me to stay.
Jimmy, I know something that's going to make you feel better, and it's this commercial break right now.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
There you go. How are you feeling?
About the same.
I feel better. Well, I feel a little
better. Are you feeling something like how I might have felt during the Haunted Mansion episode of Supreme Resort?
Who, me?
I don't know. I'm not you. I can't tell you. But so in my overview here, it skips a lot of detail and nuance, like when Pepe sees Disneyland fanatic, owner of the original Disneyland sign, one Mr. John Stamos.
That's why he was in this
fun
movie?
Little cameo. Yeah, he's a huge Disney fan.
That's why.
So Stamos has original Dumbo vehicles. He's got the original Disneyland sign that was on Harbor Boulevard in his yard. He's a huge Disney parks guy.
He was also in the video for Kokomo by the Beach Boys.
Yes, he was. He played the drums. And where was it filmed?
The place that you were married.
In the Grand Floridian. Yeah. In the place I was married. Okay. So that's a fun little scene with, he turns out he's a monster.
It's a scene. Yeah. Jump scare.
All right. So after meeting Madame Pigoda, who resembles Miss Piggy, Gonzo and Pepe come across a room full of several ghosts resembling various Muppets. The host soon appears and informs Gonzo that in order to survive the mansion, he must face his fears in room 999.
So the Kim Irvine part made me want to scream, and I might have. But I understand she is Walt Disney Imagineering's Megan McCain, so we have to include her. The second time I was able to tell that joke, I've been waiting years. And then when Sweetums comes in and takes them to the ballroom, I thought, okay, maybe the first 20 or so, however long minutes of this movie was garbage. But, oh my goodness, is this possibly getting good? Are we getting to a possible story? Are we introducing new aspects from the ride itself that are unexplored? Like the idea that there's this throwaway line in the actual ride where they say there's 999 happy haunts, but there's room for 1,000. If you insist on lagging behind, you may not need to volunteer. So super fans, feel free to tell me that I missed some lines there.
Have you seen the tattoo he has for that line?
and then this part of the movie, I mean, using that term really loosely, was they're gonna actually they're gonna play with this idea of them wanting you to be the 1,000th ghost. And what would that mean in a story? How would that operate? Isn't that interesting? How would that function? I mean, I'm sad that
it would function by that movie that came out that we talked about last year. That's how that would function.
Well, yeah. But the Muppets are playing with that. And yeah, I'm sad that we don't actually have, I would have loved to have it be like a Scooby-Doo mystery with the Muppets. I would have loved for them to maybe not go to the Haunted Mansion, but a Haunted Mansion with Haunted Mansion elements. But we got to this point and I'm like, oh, maybe this is going to be okay. Maybe I'll make it. And then it gets bad again.
So they're in the ballroom scene. There's a song Life Hereafter. There are five nods to the song Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast in this part of the movie. First of all, also, secondly, this is a made for TV movie meant to be shown on the Disney Channel with commercial breaks. It's 49 minutes long with credits. Like, it's meant to be.
But your
short.
average Muppet Show episode is better than this.
Perhaps. All right, so the ghost host's introduction to Gonzo and Pepe's funerals is strikingly similar to Lumiere's opening lines at the start of the song. After the host sings about flying candelabra, Rizzo sings the lines, but he ain't French and he can't croon, clearly referencing Lumiere. Yolanda and the host then sing, we did that in a beastly cartoon. She was a beauty.
I take it back. The scene is terrible.
One of the lyrics, we tell jokes, I do tricks with my deadly candlesticks. Obviously aligned to we tell jokes, I do tricks. Oh my God. The ghost host's line, you're all alone, but don't be scared. We've got your wake all prepared. It is a nod to you're alone and you're scared, but the banquet's all prepared. Another lyric, corpse by corpse and one by one till you shout, my life is done.
That it would have been funnier if they just used the Be My Guest music and then rewrote the lyrics.
Yeah, maybe. Would have been a better song.
If it's if they're going to go there, if they're already taking one property and like making it Muppets, why not Muppets?
By the way,
the other thing.
Listener, if you're hearing the pills that I'm taking currently, it is just normal, like medication and stuff for my asthma currently. But if you want to pretend that I'm trying to overdose on pills because of this,
that's so dark. Maybe that's the problem with the thousandth ghost thing. Like, you have to spend a whole movie convincing someone to give up their life to be a ghost in the Haunted Mansion.
You didn't like that either.
Like, that's dark. That's like suicide. You can't put that in a Disney movie.
Yeah. There was a whole movie about it. They just released it. We had a whole podcast with Eric about it. That's what that movie was. You didn't like that either. Don't tell me that would be better.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying that. Movie. Yeah, I'm saying that Disney's they're trying so hard to make the Haunted Mansion into a story. But like,
I want to bring you back to that imagery of the overbred dog. And how it's just sad and saggy.
One of the ending shots from Life Hereafter song references one of the closing shots from the Muppet Show's opening theme.
That part was cute. It was cute.
That's fun. That's a fun little trivia bit.
I could have used more of that. Honestly, I could have used more Muppets and less Haunted Mansion, I think. I think that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not... I feel like they were... And there's another part of this that I wish that this didn't exist and it didn't impact my consumption of this, but I think there's some of this in there. When this came out, everything had just reopened in the parks, or for the most, the parks had reopened. Some things were still not open, and Haunted Mansion opened, and it was like so cool. It's been so long. It's been a year or so, but like things have been sad. And then like, oh, I really missed the Pirates of the Caribbean and I missed Haunted Mansion right afterwards. And then it occurred to me that, oh, they're going to close the Haunted Mansion and they're going to make a Haunted Mansion holiday. And that upset me. And then they came out with this and I was like, wait a minute. You're acknowledging that people love the Haunted Mansion. Why can't we just love the Haunted Mansion? Why can't we like just have it be the thing? And I get that that's not a reason. It's not the reason that I dislike this movie by a long shot, but it's just in there. And it goes back to that, like the overbred dog. That's like sad and saggy. It's like, this is a thing that people love, but do they love it or do they love loving it? And it's like, there's that Haunted Mansion person. I guarantee if you go to one of the parks with like 4 or more people, at some point, one of them will be like, I love the Haunted Mansion so much because I'm dark and I like scary things and I like dark things. and then you try to engage with them, and it's just like, nah, I just like the Madame Leota earrings or whatever. It's like there's such a little depth of understanding when people engage in that level of fandom, where it's just like, okay, you just like the aesthetics of it, that's fine. And this movie is a lot of that for me. It's just like, there's, again, where's the Gracie? Where's all the deep cut stuff? Instead, it's just like, well, it's Muppets, it's Haunted Mansion. You're gonna like it, stupid. So there you go. Enjoy your slop.
As Gonzo's led into room 999, Pepe or Pepe.
I like Pepe better. His name's Pepe now.
Pepe meets and becomes entranced by the ghost of Constance Hatchaway. Taraji P. Henson.
Pepe seems to have a type in this movie.
Pepe.
Audrey, so I would just, kind of to Dan's point, okay, this ride comes out in 1966, 67, 68, something, 69.
Nice. Hold on.
And it's just a ride. It's a ride.
Okay. Dan, that's a yellow card. That's a...
So, Audrey, it's a ride, right? Like many things at Disney, it's an idea. It was a museum of the weird. It was going to be a walkthrough. It's going to be a scary ride. No, it's going to be a funny ride. No, it's going to be a... Epcot's another example. Epcot was two different theme parks. Mm-hmm. Here's this future world idea. Here's this world, like, forever World's Fair idea. Let's just put them together.
All
this ride is no different. It's a conglomerate of ideas. Okay.
Yes.
Over the years, fans have created a story. Like, well, this is really what it's about. And there's this person that does this. And there's this lore that was created by the fandom. And there's multiple different versions.
To add to that, that was kind of the idea when the Imagineers were talking about, is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? And they were like, well, what if we just have whispers of all of that?
Yeah.
And then people can kind of take what they're going to take from it, which was a great idea.
So when Dan's talking about where's this, where's that, I don't know that was ultimately the original intention. And so you take from it what you want to take from it.
Right. I'm just saying that it wouldn't have been the people that it's made for that like it or are inclined to like it wouldn't like it less if it had more depth of understanding of what this property was. And and more people, assholes like me, would probably be more inclined to at least not be repulsed by it.
But this movie was not made for you.
No, very clearly not.
It was made for...
But there are things that they could have done to make it.
And I argue that they did. I argue they did put nuance in it that only people who were true fans would appreciate.
But like...
And I know it's Kim Irvine is a dumb example, but it's an example.
Dan's
90% of the
fan.
people watching that have no idea what that means and why it's there. But it's a nod to people who know.
But it's a cheap nod, is what
to you,
yeah. It would have taken.
But Audrey didn't know. She didn't know what that meant.
I knew that she was important. She was an important cameo. I didn't know
because she was a bad actor.
Yes, that's why.
If she was a good actress, you would not understand it.
I think
perhaps
maybe, but at least then I'd have a good actor. Like it wouldn't.
Fair enough.
I get that they're putting nods in, but if the nod is not going to be good, then maybe try something different.
All right, we'll get into some more nods in a little bit. All right, so Taraji P. Henson plans to marry and kill Pepe.
This was about the time I was starting to nod off. Get it?
So as he meets the ghosts of her past husbands, she cut all their heads off. Gonzo's trapped in room 999 with room number sign turning upside down. What does 999 upside down mean?
The devil number. I'm not going to say it.
666 and starts to turn old as a reflection taunts him. Recalling a conversation with Kermit he had earlier, Gonzo realizes he is indeed afraid of something. that no one will like him if he does not do dangerous stunts. That's what he thought. He then remembers the host's advice of facing his fears being the key to escaping the room after fearing he will be trapped in the mansion forever. Gonzo ultimately realizes he is afraid of never seeing his friends again, and the room de-ages and releases him.
I did appreciate that this was a nod to the aging portrait in the Florida version of the Haunted Mansion. It was... I didn't dislike this part much. It seemed a little bit too easy to be solved, but whatever, it's fine. It was you got
to fit it in the time. I also appreciated the mirror, quote unquote, two different puppets and the puppeteers trying to mimic the movement. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
The host congratulates Gonzo for facing his fears and tells him that he is free to go as long as he makes it out by sunrise. After realizing that Pepe is in trouble, Gonzo refuses to leave without him. With the help of the host's candelabra, without real flames, Gonzo is able to find Pepe and stop the wedding. The pair jump out of the window and make it out of the mansion just as the sun rises. Final paragraph. The host meets them at the gate, revealing himself to be the Great MacGuffin, who is impressed that Gonzo was willing to do what he could not face his fears. That's what MacGuffin couldn't do, is face his fears. Gonzo could. Because MacGuffin couldn't face his fears, he was stuck in the mansion forever. The hearse driver picks them up, and Kermit video calls asking the pair to meet him and the other Muppets for breakfast. He then comments that Gonzo and Pepe should bring their friends along, leading the two to turn and see the hitchhiking ghosts behind them. Ghosts will follow you home. Yeah. Okay. So there's an article from Screen Rant about the top 10 Disney attraction Muppets could visit, or all right. So here's the 10. The busts. One of the most unnerving moments of the attraction comes as guests exit the stretching room, make their way towards the ride vehicles. This is at Disneyland. At Disney World, it's on the ride. At the end of a long hallway are a series of busts that appear to follow guests with their eyes no matter where they walk.
I'm getting chills now.
This special uses the memorable gag as an opportunity for Dr. Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker, hey look, characters from Muppets that are in it, to make humorous cameo in Muppets Haunted Mansion. Honeydew even comments that he hoped for a bigger appearance, but he was relegated to this because budget constraints. Providing a funny moment and a great tribute to the fan favorite aspect of the ride. Hitchhiking ghosts.
It's like making the movie was a force of nature that they had no choice to like they were like, we're going to shut down your company if you don't make this movie. That's not what happened. They could have taken a couple more months.
Felt like they did it at gunpoint, is what you're saying?
Well, that, but also
feels like it.
It doesn't. I get that, like, what you're offering in terms of like the budget and the time constraints and all that, that's a reason for it to be bad, but it's not an excuse for it to be bad.
Okay. So Hitchhiking Ghosts, we talked about, it's at the end of the ride, also at the end of the movie. The Doom Buggies, the ride vehicle, one of the most recognizable elements of the Haunted Mansion attraction is the ride vehicle known as Doom Buggy. Doom Buggies operate with an omnimover system that leads blah, blah, blah. In the movie, perpetual hecklers Statler and Waldorf show up in a Doom Buggy during Fonzie's stand-up comedy routine. Considering that the characters usually appear in a theater box, it is a clever way to incorporate the ride vehicle. The signature announcement also plays during this segment, adding another fun nod to the ride.
Oh, yeah. The ride breaking down.
Yeah, that's right.
When I saw the Doom Buggy
Constance Hatchaway.
When I saw the Doom Buggy with Statler and Waldorf, that was when that moment of, is it possible that this movie is getting better? That's when it ended. And on top of that, when the dueling portraits were not, when they came to life, I was like, oh, it's going to be Statler and Waldorf. That's a really cool way to use them. And it wasn't. And then they did the ride breakdown thing, and I was just like, okay, I hate this movie again. This is awful.
Okay. Constance Hatchaway is the villain. She's obviously in the ride, in the attic, especially when the guests can see evidence of Constance Hatchaway, multiple weddings and subsequent murders of her husbands. The caretaker in the graveyard. In the ride following the attic, guests on the attraction are then whisked away to the graveyard, where they can see the groundskeeper and his dog looking terrified as the ghosts rise up from the grave and break out into song.
Hands and arms inside.
The stretch, indeed. The stretching room, which is my favorite part. Before guests even get on the actual ride, the Haunted Mansion's queue offers plenty of memorable moments, none more iconic than the stretching room. As the walls expand, the seemingly normal portraits extend to reveal dark images. The room without windows or doors builds to a shockingly grim moment as the ghost host offers a solution on how to get out. That was like true to the ride. I like that a lot. The singing bus, Pat Sajak's one of them.
I would have enjoyed this more if it was just straight up the Muppet Show from the actual Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. I suppose it kind of was. Gremlin and Ghosts, the busts.
That's an interesting idea, Dan. I like that.
They double as celebrity cameos, and they're played by Sky Jackson, Jeff Knight, Pat Sajak, Justina Mikado, and Craig Robinson. Those are the singing busts. The Hatbox Ghost, of course, played by Fozzie. Madame Leota is played by Miss Piggy. The Ghost Host monologue. We hear a lot of that from old, what's his name? Will Arnett. Those are some fun things. I think that's about it. I mean, there's obviously more, but those are the main kind of nods to the ride. Grim Gunning Ghost plays throughout, which is the song. Yeah. The special's closing shot is an homage to the title credits for the Muppet movie. I think that's it.
Mathematically, this should be my favorite movie. I'm not going to argue about that. But
that's all I'm saying.
It's terrible.
It wasn't my favorite.
There's no story. The character. There's nothing. It's just.
I'm going to double down so hard on the Tinkerverse.
It's just a selection of things. It's just
chin up.
Remember
Dan.
that. Look at
the
that.
Tinkerverse. It's brighter days ahead.
All right, real quick. Here's what we're going to drink while we watch this movie, and I will be watching it again and again for years to come because crap it might be. I like it. It ticks all the boxes for me. It's enjoyable. It's fun.
That is fine. That is absolutely fine. By the way, I think we have a weird lag between all three of us, and we're not going to sit in that waiting room again. So let's just deal with it.
We're powering through.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Booby Trap Brewing Company in England.
You said a thing.
Booby.
Boobs.
This beer that we're going to drink while watching it is called Muppetry. Yes, boobs are in fact.
Oh my God, right, that's not Dan, me doing it.
Dan, that's a red card. That's
Muppetry is our inaugural brew from Booby Trap Brewing Company. Launching our new brewery based in Westcott, that's in England, with smooth caramel notes, citrus and pine aromas, and a dry, clean finish. Absolutely no Muppets were harmed during the making of this beer.
Also, Westcott, that's interesting that their brewery is located in an alternate
universe. This is an American pale ale with ABV is 5.6%, and it pairs well, you're going to like this, with pork.
Yum.
Also pairs well with sea bass ceviche, chocolate, and cherry gâteau.
Oh, I'm hungry. My mouth is watering.
Yeah. What are we going to eat besides pork and cherry gâteau?
We're having Tofurkey for dinner with gravy scented with the smell of hairspray because I feel like you need a lot of hairspray to make Muppets look good on camera.
That's probably true.
Tofurkey because, of course.
Good thing you're not having live flames nearby him, Audrey.
Oh, God. If I'm not, I know I'm not crazy about this. Listeners, tell me, leave a review. Tell me I'm wrong or don't.
I'm going to start right now.
Real candles matter.
Audrey, you are wrong. One
Forget
star.
to go five stars. 5 stars first, and then you can write the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And listener, if you want to write the bad stuff, give us 5 stars first.
Compliment, question, compliment.
Yes. So what we're going to be listening to, I have a few examples because there's so much to get into here. I found, so I did a search for worst parody songs ever, and I found a YouTube channel called, the Holderness Family Music. Jimmy, you're familiar with them? Okay.
Very.
You love them.
You see where I'm going with this?
Oh, no.
So back to the idea of you come up with the thing, like this rhymes with that. Wouldn't it be funny if we did an entire song with a music video about that? Hey, Daddy Holderness, you're so funny. You could totally come up with a whole ass song about these things because you're so funny. This is something called Baby Got Class.
Oh my God. Look at that bus. Summer was so long. All day long. Give me a snack. Give me a snack. Give me a snack. I can't believe school is back.
I like big buses, I cannot lie.
Likes big buses.
Deny, but when a big yellow one comes around the bend and picks up our children, we get sprung. Cause vacation, we didn't get anything done.
He's ignoring what sprung means, by the way.
And we're with them. Oh, baby, I'm gonna miss ya. So let me kiss ya.
He's unintentionally saying that the bus driver gets the phone when the kids go on.
Summertime's nice, kayaks and water slides.
Because when you do lazy comedy, the human brain has no choice but to start filling in the massive gaps between effort. Here's another thing. It's called Elton John Narrates Housework. Jimmy, you knew this was coming. This one is based on the very clever idea that sanding rhymes with standing. And I'm not saying that there isn't skill to this, it's just crap.
Yeah, probably should have used a stud, but now I gotta use a little drywall mud and wait until it dries and smooth it out. But the paper that I bought is wet
on their website.
Hold on.
ADHD is awesome. Is now available. Probably a book.
It's not really strong enough.
The punchline is there are different grades of sandpaper.
I'm still sanding after all this time.
And just like in this movie, there are moments where it's kind of clever, but you're not really sure if it's just because you've been beaten into submission.
If you had one spot in your house to say everything you ever wanted,
this is about
on a pillow, would you
pillows
purchase
and
it
the phrases on
display
pillows.
it? Some call it chaos, we call it family. Your friendship is so steady, like a blessing to me.
And I'll give it to them. This is kind of, like, as a concept, this is kind of funny. But do we need a whole song? No.
Or lots of songs.
This one goes in my garden and it says, "Welcome, gnome." You used to call me all day on my cell phone. Watch yourself,
I think it's a good analogy.
Here's another good analogy. I don't know, Audrey, are you familiar with the channel Characters Welcome on YouTube?
Yes.
In which someone will present a character that they've created, and then all of their improv friends laugh way too loud at every moment of it.
Yes.
Because they want to like it. Because they
Yes.
feel like they should. Because they like the person performing, and they like the idea.
I
I
find
feel like
some
you've
of their
described
stuff
every
funny.
improv show I've ever seen.
Audrey,
Okay. All right. With the personal attacks, that's
No.
it. I quit. I'm out of this show. You guys can have fun
No.
recording your fun little Disney podcast without me.
Wait, Audrey, if you leave, hold on,
No,
Audrey,
it was
if
not
you
an
leave,
attack on you.
if you leave, it's a contractual obligation for Jeremy to replace you, so please stay.
I'm staying. How dare you? Anyway, yeah, characters welcome.
So-
I remember seeing one character that was like a Gumby kid goes to summer camp, and also his mouth is full of pennies or something.
Right.
It was a really strange.
There are some that are funny. Like there's one.
Some
it's
are
like,
better
I
than
think
others for sure.
Yeah, I think it's two. There's one that's like two toddlers in a man suit.
That's
doing
the one.
something, and that one's fun. That's funny.
That's
but
genius.
Then like every time I watch one of these, I think it's because I know how sad it can be to be an improv person. I don't mean that as an attack at all, but like that thing where it's just like, I'm going to really laugh because I know how hard this person is working.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
And so this is Boomer Parent tells a funny story, and you can tell that this is filled with this person's friends.
Oh, God, you kids are so hilarious. You know where you get that from? Your grandfather. Oh, Motto, he was such a character. You know what? This is a really funny story. Okay, so one time when we was kids, look, your aunts and uncles are already laughing because they know what I'm going to say. So, something you got to know about your grandpa is as much as he loved you kids, and my God, he loved you kids. But he hated us. I mean, oh my God,
wow, what a
hated us.
punchline.
And he hated me the most because I was the littlest,
Yep.
and I was a girl, and I had what do you call it, a speech impediment back then? And wow.
I don't know why you two aren't laughing. You can hear the audience.
I don't know her. Sorry.
Don't start with me.
So anyway, he hated me. Not as much as he hated your grandmother, but still. Right. One night he comes home, and he is roaring drunk. And he used to come home like that all the time, right? But what?
It's painful.
Oh,
right?
no, honey, your grandfather wasn't an alcoholic.
I think you had to be there. Maybe if you were there. And you could see her facial expression.
I mean, granted, if she had the candlelight glow on her face, it would have been
a lot better,
higher quality. But
yeah, and if I understood the nuance of what she was talking about, if I knew her uncle,
if you knew her personally,
if I'd ridden her uncle before,
yeah, if you
Twice.
graduated from level 2 and 3 improv class with this person, you would probably appreciate the effort that's being put in.
All right, listener. My name is Jimmy. Audrey and Dan, feel free to leave a review. Remember who liked it. Hey, I just booked a trip, by the way. Concierge is a Disney vacation planner. We can plan your trip to Disney parks. You can ride Haunted Mansion. You could ride Haunted Mansion Holiday. You could ride Phantom Manor at Disneyland Paris. You could ride Haunted Mansion in Japan, which is in Fantasyland, by the way, in Japan. Audrey, you'd appreciate that. You could ride...
That does make this movie better.
You could ride, what's the one? Mystic Manor in Hong Kong. We could help you book all those. I booked a trip to Disneyland for the Uribe family from Mexico City. They are listeners, they're fans, and they are going in October during Halloween time.
Ooh.
Guess what you can do at Disneyland?
You can ride the most Halloween ride ever, Haunted Mansion
Holiday.
Because Halloween is a holiday.
Anyway, Uribe family, thank you for booking. Have a great time. That's 856 Hour Ears. And there's other shows on the network. I know you started, but I'm talking. So there's Ears Up In Depth, Bantha Milk podcast about Star Wars. There's the podcast about the Marvel, which is the Marvelous podcast.
There it is.
It is Puny Pod is the name of that one, and they talk about Marvel movies in order of release. And there's this one, and there's the Supreme Resort. We're going to talk about the resorts. We're going to talk about resort hotels, which is better. Disneyland Resort Hotels. There's 58 of those if you think about Good Neighbor Hotels. Or Disney World. We're going to explore those by category coming up in the multiple next episodes. Scraping the Vault, we're going to see you again this fall with the Tinkerverse. We're going to figure out how to tackle that. And probably some listener, the host favorites. Another delightful Christmas film that I'll pick out. I guess maybe not. I don't know. After I picked out the Halloween episode, I'm not sure if I want to make any more suggestions. And that's it, everybody.
Oh, man.
Well, until next time.
Until next time,
Be kind.
And rewind.
Rewind.
Respecting. Hi,
That
listener. Welcome to the. Oh no! Keep going. Keep going.
Only had one lesson.
Hello. Welcome to the Easter egg for the episode.
I thought we were doing Pocahontas.
I don't know what happens in the episode, but if you would like to take a moment to sit back and relax and think about atmospheric things like clouds and little bunnies and like river, and think about how for some reason ethnic flutes relax everybody.
Have you ever heard the wolf cry?
And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means that you have a limited experience.
Have you ever on the mountain? On the wind.
And now here's some ASMR.
Babe, not now. Babe, stop.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize.
Get that out of my face. I'm sleeping.
Hold on.
Stop.
I think the dog's awake though.
Cut it out.
Wake up.
God damn it.
Don't eat it.
I have morning breath.
Baby, you know how much I love your morning breath. Tastes like that cigarette jello mold that you made earlier today.
What planet are we on right now?
I don't know.
All right.
And that was the Easter egg. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.